Chicken broth is a pantry staple. It adds depth of flavor to simmering stews and hearty soups. It's also the backbone of savory classics like risotto and gravy. But there are seemingly endless options at the store, so which one should you buy? Let's put it to the taste. Welcome to the Taste Test, where our team goes above and beyond tasting ingredients so you can make smart decisions when you shop. Today is all about chicken broth. I conducted this taste test and learned a lot about chicken broth during my search for the best supermarket options. The vast majority of chicken broth is sold as liquid in 1-quart boxes. There are also 2 other common formats that both require reconstitution in boiling water: bouillon, which is powder or cube, and concentrate, which has a thick paste-like consistency. We'll get to which of these you should or shouldn't buy in a bit, but it's also important to understand how they're made. In our research over the years, we learned something surprising about chicken broth. Almost every chicken broth you see at the supermarket starts off as a thick broth concentrate made by big food manufacturers you've probably never heard of. These big companies hire food scientists to customize each broth concentrate to their clients' specifications. Then they ship the concentrates out to brands like College Inn and Swanson to be reconstituted for supermarket shelves. Many people wonder what the difference is between broth and stock. Most manufacturers, recipes, and food sources use them interchangeably, and so do we. Basically, in the store, broth and stock are the same thing. To make liquid broth, large volumes of chicken meat and bones are cooked in water under high pressure. After that, other ingredients like vegetables are added for flavor. You may also find tomato paste and turmeric used as ingredients to give the broth more color. For texture, you may find flour or potato starch used as thickeners. Bouillon is made by dehydrating liquid broth into solids and milling it into powder. Oftentimes, hydrogenated fat is added to amp up the richness of the reconstituted broth and mimic homemade broth with little oily bits floating on top. Packaging and shelf life are also points of consideration. Liquid broth only lasts 3 to 4 days after opening. It'll also last about 3 months in the freezer. But 1 jar of Better Than Bouillon contains the equivalent of 38 cups of broth and lasts about 2 years after its manufacturing date. So that's the rundown of how boxed broth and concentrate are made. But there's a lot more that we learned when we tasted the leading brands. Let's put our test to the taste with 5 brands from our 10 broth tasting. Joining me for tasting today is Reviews Teens on Lisa McManus. Lisa, thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Do you have any strong feelings about chicken broth?
Well, you know, I have strong opinions about everything. But years ago, I did do one of our earlier chicken broth tastings, and I remember at that time, there were some that were really terrible and some that were great. So I'm really curious to know how these are going to stack up.
Well, today is your lucky day. We're doing shots of broth.
Okay, not exactly my ideal shot, but let's do it.
We'll start with broth A.
Cheers. Chicken broth. Okay, I have thoughts. I don't know about you, but mine had a lot of almost granular residue in it that just, you know, it isn't really ideal. It tastes like it's powdered, has a very strong flavor that isn't necessarily like a homemade chicken stock. It tastes commercial, I guess. It has little green flecks that look like herbs, but also little fat globules that are sort of floating on the top, and you can see them stuck to the side. So it's not a smooth experience, and it wasn't the most pleasant to drink.
I agree with you.
Incredibly
it was
salty,
and you know, it was just kind of one note. Which isn't great, and it's kind of thin and watery at the same time somehow. Mm-hmm. And so that one is Knorr. The bouillon powder, which our tasters didn't like as much. We recommend it, but you know, we have reservations because we simply didn't really appreciate the flavor, and we also didn't like the appearance of it that had little bits of floating herbs, and it was not the most appetizing thing.
Okay, I would agree with that.
Let's try sample B.
Okay.
What do you think?
It's clear and it has sort of a nice normal color. It's not fluorescent like some of these, but it's very mild to me and has like a little bit of a funky note, like a sort of, I don't know, chicken bone kind of flavor to it that is a little strange.
I thought it was pretty bad, honestly.
Okay, I was being nice. It wasn't that good.
Yeah, it has some like old bones.
Old bones, yep,
in
yep,
there.
yeah.
Not
yeah.
that I intentionally taste old bones on a regular basis,
Right.
but it was strange. And it had a tomato, onion, cooked onion notes in there that was a little weird.
Well, kind of like onion skins, right? Not even onions. It was like kind of this funky old onion quality.
Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly. So that one is the Progresso reduced sodium.
Okay. I kind of expected more from Progresso, so I'm disappointed.
Yeah, though it does say it's reduced sodium, it actually has a higher amount of sodium than some of our other brands in the lineup.
Wow.
Which is quite strange.
Yes. You see that sometimes, though. The reduced sodium product is only in relation to their regular product, not in relation to like some across the board amount that you can have in a food. So it's only reduced compared to if they don't make a reduced sodium. But like you said, it could still be higher than other brands, which is weird.
So our tasters also didn't like that one. They said it had fishy notes, and you're totally right. It had lingering acidic taste in the broth. It's kind of bright. It does lend some bright flavors to the risotto that we made. So the Progresso is actually not recommended, which is the lowest rating we give.
Yeah, I would not want to put that in my soup or whatever I was making at home. It just doesn't have the right flavor that I'm looking for. So I agree with our tasting panel.
Shall we move on to C?
Yes. This one has a very vivid color. It looks like Gatorade. Hope it tastes better. It's pretty salty, but it also has a decent chicken flavor. It actually tastes like chicken. So it's like super chicken with salt, which is not entirely a bad thing in a broth. You can always dilute it a little more. I kind of like it.
Yeah, I thought it was really chicken forward as well. So that one is the Better Than Bouillon.
Yay, okay.
Which is our best buy choice because it's such a thick concentrate that you reconstitute it in boiling water at home and you get a jar of these, you get 38 cups of chicken broth out of it. Isn't that great?
It is really great. And actually, I use that one at home because I can keep it in my fridge. And if I need chicken broth, I just pull some out. And I will sometimes dilute it a little more or less depending on how I'm using it. But it's great to have that convenience. It can live in your fridge a long time and you're always ready. I don't always have a box of broth somewhere and I haven't always made homemade. So I like that one.
Our tasters totally agree with you as well. They thought this was a great savory chicken broth that reminded some of them of instant chicken ramen and Campbell's chicken noodle soup.
I would agree with that. And also, given that this one is a bouillon powder and this is a bouillon paste, this one dissolved a lot better than the Knorr did. I mean, it didn't taste reconstituted. It tasted like it was a liquid broth. This one tasted reconstituted. It tasted powdery and granular. So I definitely see why we like that one.
Absolutely, I totally agree. Let's move on to broth D.
Okay. It's got an interesting kind of amber color. Looks like apple juice. It definitely does not taste like apple juice.
What does it taste like?
It's kind of watery and strong at the same time. Like it doesn't have a ton of flavor, but what there is not great. I just thought it was a little bit, I don't want to say sour, but like a little off somehow. It didn't really taste like chicken. I'm not crazy about that. I personally wouldn't use that one.
Yeah, people weren't crazy about that one either in our tasting. So that one is Zoop.
It looks so homemade in that jar.
Yeah, we were kind of surprised by how it did in our tasting as well because it came in a glass jar. We thought it was definitely somewhat kind of more of a gourmet option out there on the market. And it is more expensive than a lot of other brands in our lineup as well. So it had carrot juice and a lot of them in the chicken broth. Our tasters didn't like it at all. They thought it was pretty one note. And it had a burnt flavors. It also tainted our risotto bright yellow, which wasn't the most appetizing thing.
Yeah, it is a really orangey color. Definitely, you can see the carrots there. But
Yeah, a lot of us compare that to buttery water.
okay. I didn't even get the butter. I just got the water and some weird old carrots. But okay.
So the soup was not recommended at all.
Okay.
We do not want to go near them.
No. No soup. Okay.
The last one, shall we?
Yeah. I like that one. It's kind of mild and delicate, and it tastes like chicken, which, hey, that's what you want in a chicken broth, right? It tastes like chicken. It's clear. I mean, it's a little cloudy, but it doesn't have like weird specks in it or anything. It has a nice, pleasant flavor. It wouldn't overwhelm the dish, and it doesn't taste fake to me. Like, I think this one tasted a little artificial. This tastes more like real chicken broth, so I liked that one.
Yeah, that one tasted like homemade
Yeah.
to me.
Yeah.
It's not something that has a lot of artificial flavors, and it definitely tastes like what my parents make at home or used to make at home. So that one is the Swanson chicken stock. Tasters thought it was bright and umami rich. It has a lot of chicken flavors and good balance of salt and savory and chicken flavors in it. We really liked it so much that we awarded the Swanson chicken stock our winner.
Well, that's great.
Here are the official results for our 10 broth tasting. Swanson and Swanson Organic are our box winners in the highly recommended category, followed by Better Than Bouillon in the recommended category. It's our best buy. Pacific Foods is also recommended. Tasters like its chickeny flavor. Knorr Bouillon Powder and College Inn are both in the recommended with reservations category. Kitchen Basics, Zoop, Kettle and Fire, and Progresso are not recommended. We wouldn't buy these at all. We also have a few good chicken broth tips for you. First, for Better Than Bouillon, some people add a little bit of the paste to introduce more flavor to their stir fry without adding moisture.
Ooh, I've got one. The packages, when they come in these Tetra Paks, these boxes, the way to get them to pour without glugging and splattering is to pour with the spout on top rather than on the bottom, because the air can get in and it will pour smoothly without that splashing.
Lisa, this has been great. I can do shots of chicken broth with you all day.
Yeah, it was really fun. I enjoyed it. But let's mix in a little water here and there. Some of these are kind of salty.
So, what's your favorite chicken broth? How do you usually use it at home? Let us know in the comments.
Also, be sure to like this video, click the bell for notifications, and head over to americastestkitchen.com for more reviews of your favorite ingredients.
Thank you for watching the taste test, and we'll see you next time.